I'm Rachel. I'm from Google Developers and here to tell you about Google Developer Student Clubs. Google Developer Student Clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems. I'm sure you're curious how it works. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a Google Developer Student Club lead and start a club on their campus. These clubs host workshops to help students learn about Google technologies. And they work with local businesses, startups, NGOs, even their universities to build real solutions for real problems. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them. Through this experience, they not only bridge the gap between theory and practice for students, but leave a legacy of impact. Join us in building a global community for students.
I am Zahra. I am from Mauritius and I am a university student currently in year 2 studying software engineering. I have been a developer for more than 9 months now. I had some challenges when I first started out because I had no technical background and no mentor to guide me through. So when I first started my journey as a developer, I was not sure where to go and how I should be doing things. Firstly, I had no idea that I was going to be in tech. I was actually a science student and I was going to study civil engineering. To get where I am today is because I have used all of these resources that were available on YouTube or Code Labs, and then I have worked on my own projects so that I can get better. Because I believe that you cannot become a better developer or you cannot learn a technology without practicing. Currently, I am a software developer at NAFNA Business Solutions Limited, which is a company based in Mauritius. And being part of a community, yes, it did help me get this job because I was very involved within the Google Developer Student Club community where I was organizing many workshops. I was mentoring students and I was also going in events as tech speakers to speak about technologies. I even did 2 sessions for Flutter. At some point, this involvement with the community did get me my current job because I was contacted by the recruiter and they did tell me that they were very interested by all of these. When I first started off as the lead, I had noticed many things. For instance, the community had a lot of people with different backgrounds. And as the lead, I had to cater for all of these people. You know, when you're making a workshop, you can't just make a workshop for beginners only. You have to make it such a way that everyone is getting something out of it. I do enjoy quite a lot of things, but I would say once again, being able to mentor the members of a community, this is what I really like the most. When people come and tell me that they were able to actually learn something new, right? And they're trying to put in place a project and they were able to actually do it because of the help that I actually provided to them. This kind of makes me happy. One of the advice that I always give people is networking. Networking is very important. That's how you grow as a developer. Please do not fret if you're a beginner or if you feel like nothing is going well for you right now as a developer. You see, it's just life, or the developer life, I would say. So do take it easy and don't fret. Just know that your time will come and your code will work.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SSA Student Summit. We're so excited to host you today. My name is Hadija Juma. I'm a community manager in the developer relations team here in SSA, and I am your host for the day. It's going to be an exciting summit. We have so many great speakers joining us, both from the internal Google team and our communities, and we are excited to have you today. First off, I would like to start with our social media. Today, we would like you to tweet about it, post it on your Instagram, everywhere. The hashtag is Developer Student Clubs and SSA Student Summit. I would also love to hear about your experience so far. Put it on your comments. Tell us where you're from, what country you're representing. Personally, I'm representing Kenya, and I'm so excited to see all the Kenyan chapter leads in this summit today. First up, we have our first speaker for the day. It's going to be Awal, our community lead at Google, who's going to start us off with the welcome remarks. Awal?
Yeah, thanks, Khadija. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for signing up to participate in this summit. For us, it's really a pleasure to organize such an event. Our team goal is to help students as well as developers across the region to build their technical skills and become job ready, because in the long run, that is what matters. My name is Awal, and I'm part of the Google Developer Relations team. I lead the communities program, including GDSC and the GDG program, as well as the WTM programs. So when we started thinking about the summit, we thought of what will be a good opportunity, or probably what would be a good experience for you. And we thought that, hey, why not give the students the opportunity to net up with each other, as well as have access to contents, engineering content that you have available for them. So we thought of, hey, build up something. We come up with a site and then list out some learning resources that we feel like will be helpful for you. Africa is a mobile first continent. So it's the reason why you see some of our resources are specifically for Android. We want to help you build your skills and become better at what you do. So we give you access to those content around building applications, using Compose and Kotlin. So we also thought that, yeah, it would be really helpful if you grow your skills in machine learning and cloud, because just like what we've been seeing over the past few months and years, like machine learning is everything. Like it helps move things faster than we ever imagined. So we thought we should give you the ability to build your own skills so that you can be able to contribute your own quota in the long run. So shout out to every one of you who is participating in the learning contest, whether you're learning Android or cloud or machine learning. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're able to achieve over the next couple of years. This is not just for you. When the days preceding this, we had people trying to organize a whole lot of things. We have GDSC leads in Nigeria organize a boot camp, because university students, or probably students of higher learning, have gone home for a break because we're in an election season, and then they thought, hey, why not organize a learning session for students? So shout out to the organizers of the bootcamp, as well as each and every one of the participants in the bootcamp learning one of the 9 tracks that was showcased. And finally, a shout out to every one of the 231 GDSC leads in Sub-Saharan Africa for making sure that this event happens. We're looking forward to all the great things that will come out from your community, from what you're building in Solutions Challenge, as well as shout out to those who will submit applications to become GDSC lead in the next month. So let me not be the person saying everything. So it will be my honor now to invite Abdullahi, my colleague from the Ghana office, to come and give us the keynote speech.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Abdullahi, and I work for the Google research team in Accra, Ghana. I want to acknowledge the team for organizing these events. Owal, Sadiq, Khadija, this is amazing. You are in for a treat today. I see some great panel ahead. I know some of the panelists personally, so I'm super excited about the content. All right, so let's get started. First of all, if you want to reach out to me, I've put my website, abdullahi.ai. It has all my information. So today I plan to talk about basically what I do in research and talk a bit about the world of AI and research and machine learning. And I hope to also give some insights from my own experience going forward. So, I'm a program manager. I work for Google AI, the research center in Accra, Ghana. In my career, I've traveled over 22 countries, working for a telco supplier and a startup before joining Google. My background is computer science. And yes, my experience is around telecom, payment, and AI. I'm passionate about AI for social good and talent building programs in Africa. The pictures below on the bottom left is my team in Accra, and then on the right is my family. So I wanted to talk a bit about my career path. In a way, I feel it's a bit funny to talk about career at the moment, right? We've seen the news, we've seen the negative news about the layoff. And the main thing that I want to say is that I've seen this before in my career. And so this should not distract you too much. It's good for you to understand what's going on. However, it's great to continue learning and building on your skills. So back in 2001, we had a major dot-com crash with a lot of layoff. Same thing in 2007, 2009, a lot of layoff as well. And currently, we are going through a bit of a downturn. However, even with the downturn, we're also seeing an AI boom. I'm sure you've heard it by now, whether it's AI or ChatGPT or any large language models. I'm sure you've heard all the first around it. My career path, right? I started with college and went to university in Canada. I started my first job as a software developer was in 2001. And then eventually I moved on to Ericsson working as a system integrator and then supporting and integrating all over Africa. And eventually I worked for a startup in Nigeria, which was an amazing experience. And then I joined the Brain team a few years ago, and then I moved to another team, but I'm still a program manager basically at Google AI. Next slide. So what does my work look like as a program manager? It's a bit of all of that, guiding throughout the project or program, bridging teams, problem solving, conducting activities, steering the ship basically, and looking up for risk. So there's a lot of risk assessment that is part of my job and coming up with plans, right? So there's a lot of planning involved as well. Now, a bit of what we do in Ghana, we do fundamental AI and machine learning research, which is basically, writing papers and having publications at machine learning and AI conferences. And then we are also doing applied AI research. One of our flagship projects was improving maps, specifically in Africa. So what we did is we took all the satellite imagery that was available within Google, and then we basically over time built a model that was capable of detecting houses all over the continent. And so if you want to know more about this project, please look up open buildings. Pretty much the whole continent is available. So for example, if you want to download the footprint of Kenya, you can do it today and download every single building that we have detected in the country. Overall, we've detected over 500 million buildings all over the continent, and we open sourced the data set for anyone to use. So remote sensing, basically detecting what we see on the ground using AI is a big part of our work. We also work on flood forecasting for river basin floods. So basically, we are able to predict using AI where the water or where the flood will spread in case of river and basins floods. We also worked on agriculture. One of our first projects was CropNet, which was a model that we built to detect disease in cassava plants. Since it's a staple that we consume a lot on the continent, we basically built a model that was small enough to go into a mobile phone and other devices, and empowering farmers to basically detect disease early. So this project is also open source, including the model and the data set. I invite you to look it up. It's called CropNet, cassava disease detection. You will find the relevant information. Then, so what does a career in research look like? First of all, I want to highlight that there's a major event happening in Ghana in a few months, and this is Deep Learning Indaba. If you have not applied yet and you are interested into machine learning research, I strongly encourage you to apply. It's a few days event, and we expect AI practitioners, research scientists from all over the world to come to Ghana in a few months. I expect as much as over 1,000 to 2,000 people. Then, how do you actually get involved in research? Is joining such conference. But there are also programs available on the continent if you want to get further, such as the AIMS Army program, which prepares you for the world of research through a master degree in machine learning and AI. You most likely have a local community, such as Deep Learning Indaba X in most countries in Africa, which you can look up. If you are interested to have an impact on African languages, I recommend checking out Mashakane, which is focused on advancing African languages, and as well ML Collective, which is a really good group in encouraging collaboration and mentorship to people who want to get into machine learning and research. And obviously, reading machine learning literature helps a lot. Reading the papers that comes out from time to times is quite helpful in getting ready. Now, what's happening in AI? I mean, you've all seen with ChatGPT and other various large language models. We are currently going through a generative AI boom, and which is basically copilots for everything. You can now generate code using Copilot, which is pretty good. And as well, you can generate text, voice, images, video, and we can also see that music is also coming next. There's wide use of AI applications nowadays, mostly natural language processing, so chatbots again, machine learning translation, speak recognition, text-to-speech, and so on. Yet I have to acknowledge that here, for our own languages, for African languages, there's a lot of work to do, right? Most of those generative AI tools do not work very well in low resource settings. And what does it mean is that basically those chatbot or generative models have not been trained enough on African languages. And so when it comes to a culture and many other things, they will struggle. So in a way, I feel like this is an opportunity for some of you to make a difference going forward. Computer vision is big, definitely. We see self-driving cars already, facial recognition all over, and health and AI is really picking up, as I can see. Robotics, definitely. Manufacturing, healthcare, agriculture, logistics. I recommend checking out the State of AI website, so stateof.ai, which is basically a yearly report on what the world will look like with AI in the next year. And they've done really good predictions I've seen so far. So they predicted that there will be a generative AI boom, and it's happening at the moment. So indeed, the world of AI is moving very fast, right? So on the left, you see basically the growth in number of transistors, right? Since the 70s until 2018, and you can see that it's a steady curve. And now when you look at AI hardware, it's even going faster, right? So since 2012, like AI computing power has risen to double every 3 months or so. So basically exceeding Moore's law. As far as when we talk about impact of AI, wealth generation, job alteration, social changes, it's coming, and we can see that this is where we are at the moment, and so it's very hard to say how the world will look like in a few years, but it is indeed moving very fast. I wanted to talk a bit about AI for code because I think it touches Android development, machine learning, and even cloud. So indeed, large language models are able to now generate code. And so this is an example here from the Palm model, which can easily translate a piece of code in C language to Python, for example. I recommend reading the Palm paper. I think you may find it interesting. So this is the title of the paper, Pathways Language Model Palm Scaling to 440 billion parameters. Same for logic. Model still, it's just getting started. It would be, I think, interesting to see how large language model will be in a few years. But already they're able to do logic, right? So this is just an example where the model is able to basically calculate according to the text that is shared. Please read the paper if you want more details on this. One thing that I feel is important at this stage, and you probably already know this, is to make your work public, right? And so this is basically different type of profile, and you can see that the bottom one, it may be someone who's just getting started and basically checking in codes. It's important to basically have your work out there so that we can see the progress you are making, and it makes it much easier when you are looking for work, right? Because you will have a history to share. This is basically your new CV, right? With large language models, anyone can now create a fancy CV or cover letter. But what we really want to see is the work that you are doing and how you are contributing to open source software. The likely scenarios in Africa for the next decade, and this is just my personal opinion. First of all, to get to AI, digital transformation must happen. There's so much work to do in this area, right? And I think this is an opportunity for anyone who is interested. We need to move from pen and paper in Africa, and that's valid for health institutions, but all type of services, really. And so it is most likely that there's going to be a lot of demand going forward for people who can help transform our world into digital and as well help transit into digital health. You're going to see digitization of media. AI and education is most likely going to continue to grow. Health and AI, obviously, using AI to monitor climate impact, AI in agriculture, AI in science, and this is just to name a few. But yes, artificial intelligence is going to be present in many fields going forward, and it is already in a way. I think what's interesting is to see the progress on the continent, and this is thanks to student development clubs, your own activities, and developer relation leads who are basically encouraging people to get certified. So you can see from 2020, there was almost no certified machine learning engineers using TensorFlow in Africa. And then we can see that 2 years later, there's quite a growth. And even if I check the latest number, I'm sure you will see a lot more. I encourage you to get certified if machine learning and TensorFlow is your thing. It does make a difference, and whenever you are looking for work. Going forward, my whole career has been about curiosity, I remember my first job, I was basically taken because I was the Linux guy, right? It's something that I enjoy doing. And so I want to just highlight two announcements that were made this week by my research team. So number one, the Open Health Stack. I recommend reading the stories at developers.google.com Open Health Stack stories. You will find there a story of an Kenyan startups which basically use this stack to build health apps, right? And those apps are the same quality of apps you will see in the West, in the US or Canada and Europe and so on. So it's an opportunity to basically use this stack that is fully open source to make a difference and help transit toward digital health. There was also some announcements around generative AI. As I mentioned, generative AI is big now. Palm API and MakerSuits, which are not released to the public yet, but I'm sure will be in a few weeks. I recommend basically going to the developers.googleblog.com. And when it comes to playing with AI, I enjoy the API on Hugging Face. You can go and check it out. And as well, if you're interested into natural language APIs as well, Cohere is really good. And so to finish up, I just wanted to give you some tips from my own experience. I've been in the field in tech for the past 22 years plus. What is important, as I mentioned this, is to make your work public, share your work. Your repo is basically your CV going forward. Plan your career and dream big. This is so important. You can make the exercise today. You can just open up a Google Slide or Google Doc and just highlight how do you see yourself in 10 years time? Like what are your big dreams? What would you like to do? And with this exercise, you are now able to map what you need to do to get there. I strongly recommend trying this. And there's a lot of information online. You can look up how to create a dream job board. Then I've in my past I've basically applied and tried to hit positions that were above my belt, and I think it's okay. It's actually a great experience. Even if you fail, you learn from the process and you understand what you need to do or to learn to get there. Getting feedback from your CV and your cover letter is critical. Don't just send CVs. Get people around you, your friends, especially people who are non-technical, to look at it. And because your CV, I'm sure, will have some acronyms, some technical terms, and in a way, the first person who may look at your CV may not be technical. So this is important. Networking inside of your company, that is so critical in your first years. It will help you during your career and maybe even finding mentors and so on. Learning to deal with confrontation. As a student, I'm sure you've been involved into work, group students, homework or assignments. And there's sometimes some tensions, some disagreements. But the point is that you are going to face the same thing at work. And so you must learn how to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is by communicating. Working on soft skills is so important. Personally, for me, public speaking used to be super challenging. Is not something that is really comfortable. However, you can learn, and the more you practice, the better you are. So that I feel that's quite important. It will help.
Open a link in a new Chrome tab. Touch and hold a link, then tap Open a new tab.
That's Google. So work on your skills, public speaking, have a blog that highlights the work that you are doing so that people can know about you. And then the last one is a bit odd, but super important. And I wish I had taken care of this early in my career, which is your well-being, right? So you are going to spend a huge amount of time sitting down, coding, working in front of a screen. So it's important that today you take the habit of just sitting properly, right? And sitting up straight, making sure that you are at the right distance between your screen and your face. And trust me, this will help you going forward I have colleagues who suffer from back pain and chronic pains, and this is all about sitting properly and making sure that you have the right habits from the start. Some of the things that have worked for me is basically taking risk in my career. And when I say taking risk is I like to learn new things. And if I feel that after a few years, I'm no longer learning or I'm not growing, it's important to look at other options. And because it's easy to get comfortable in a position, right? But I believe that you can always learn and reinvent yourself. And that's what I've done my whole career. It's important to learn from failures. And then another point that is critical is getting coached, getting a mentor early in your career, and as well coaching someone, right? I'm sure there's a student somewhere in a high school or someone that looks up to you. You are doing amazing stuff with technology. They would like to learn from you. And by coaching, you're also building up on your leadership skills for later on. So it's critical. It's not just about helping the person, it's also about your self-growth. Staying informed with the trends and making time to exploration, I think, is critical. You can see now how fast things are moving, whether you're coding or you're just a marketing person writing documents. There are tools out there already that are improving productivity. And so going forward, those productivity tools are here to stay. You're going to hear about copilots, most likely for the rest of your career. Copilots for writing code, copilots for writing documents, technical documents. Indeed, I feel like AI for productivity is here to stay, not necessarily to replace one job, right? So even if AI can generate code, you still need someone to actually verify it. Today, the code that is generated is kind of okay, but there's still a lot of issues and bugs. And those models also have biases against our people in our region, simply due to the lack of training data from our region. And so yeah, I think it's important to explore and experiment with this technology. And then lastly, you're in for a life marathon, right? It's not it's important to take care of life balance, right? Yes, we all want to work very hard, but I've seen people burning out in my career. So I think it's important to pace yourself as well, especially during the first year, because you're in for the long run. That's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow me or connect with me, please go to abdulai.ai. I'm on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Again, thank you so much from the organizers for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abdullah, for those gems. A very interesting keynote, I must say. A bit about artificial intelligence and the boom around that, and also the work-life balance and understanding that your career is more of a marathon and not a sprint. Thank you so much for your time, Abdullah. Please follow Abdullah on Twitter. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him through his website, and we will share with you the resources from his keynote address. I just wanted to shout out some of the people on the chat. I see the chat is very active right now. A lot of people are giving good feedback, Abdullah, about your keynote.
Thank you.
A lot of thank you for your time, and a lot of people from different parts of Africa giving their shout out, from Nigeria, from Kenya. I see Malawi, I see Cameroon, and a lot of people are interested in understanding how they can get access to these resources. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them together and share with them the communities that you shared, as well as the different resources and papers that they can read to understand more about artificial intelligence. Thank you, Abdullah, for making time to join us in the Student Summit. Hi, everyone. For those who just joined us, my name is Hadija. I'm a community manager in the developer relations team and the host for this program today. We just got started, and we are at the next session. We are about to start the next session, which is the career panels. We have 3 interesting tracks. We have Android development, machine learning, and cloud, and we have exciting speakers in these three career tracks. You can join these tracks by clicking on the event page and then selecting the different tracks that you picked during the registration. Or you can also use the links that we've shared here. So there is the bit.ly link for Android is SSA-Summit-Android, and then we have one for cloud and another one for machine learning. So we'll give you 60 seconds to transition to the next session. And please continue tweeting using the hashtag SSA Summit, Developer Student Clubs. And thank you everyone for joining. Keep the comments coming. We'll be reading them, and introduce yourself and get to meet new people in the comment section. Bye.